What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 69 of the Weekly Wave. I've been out for the count this week, with a stomach bug, but I'm feeling a little bit better today, so I thought I'd get behind the camera, get into things. I had a wonderful interview with my original guest on this show, one of my best buddies, Mr. Nick Hack, for a special episode of the show. We also wrapped it up with some Battleship off camera, and believe me, that shit got heated. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Hack. 2,
clap.
1.
Got it. Work.
Hey.
You get some money in here?
Barely any. Come on. Show them my license, just so they got the numbers if they need it.
Hang on.
Oh, God. You ever try to show a door guy your wallet in there, and he acts like he just can't read through that clear piece of plastic? Like, why did you put that on there?
To be honest with you, Matt, I can't read it. If I was a door guy, I'd be like, this is not real.
It's because of those cataracts I gave you for Christmas. Come on. Just take it. Nick fucking Hack, what's going on?
We're doing it.
Episode 69 never looked so good, you piece of shit. No, okay. We went out to B-Dubs before this. We got a little bit of them spicy garlic wings and then licked each other's fingers clean. And then we show up for an episode of Sweetness.
Yeah, it's a good time to hang.
It is. Do you remember episode 1 of this show, Nick?
That was one. That
was episode number 1.
I do. And I brought analog Battleship.
I'm ready for this. I built this abominable structure this afternoon. Let's see if it can hold the game on there. Do we want to bust this thing out now?
Whatever you want to do.
Let's do it. Let's see how it goes. I haven't played Battleship in a long time.
We didn't plan for this.
Do you think you have all the pieces?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of a person are you? How does it... Oh.
Yeah, this might be
nice. This is nice. Is it too far of a distance? Where are the pieces?
Yeah. They're in the secret compartment.
What do you mean the secret compartment?
They're in there.
Shall we save this for another time then?
Yeah, or we can play after and cut it in later or whatever.
That sounds
whatever you want to.
Nick, how was the birthday last week?
The birthday was good.
It's been your birthday since last week. Every single day, baby.
Yep. People were telling me happy birthday yesterday. I had a happy birthday drum solo yesterday. I had people have been telling me happy birthday for like 5 days now.
How old are you?
28. I'm 28 years old.
Seems like a disciplined lifestyle, baby.
What?
You know, I have no idea what I meant by that. If we're going to take things personally, let's not start with that, because it didn't come out right. Right before this, me and Nick were talking about my looming need for health care, and it's on the horizon, baby. I'll take your sage advice, and I'll raise you a really weird third-party extension of what seems to be a medical bill, but it has nothing to do with my current health standings.
Okay.
You know, I don't know how email works, but it seems complicated. All right, man. He's already checking the time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm checking the phone. Okay.
Let's hop into something that's gonna mutually entertain us. This is the windiest show we've ever played.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
Let's see how it started. Sorry, it sounds like a trash can. It's because it comes out of every TV that's down here. Are you a fifth third better because of this set?
My previous car loan was 3/5 third.
These TVs sound horrible.
This is exactly when the EQ rings flew off the snares. Right? Was that the first song of the show?
Was it? I think so. The only way you know is if the lights flew over. Because the lights were just laying on the ground for 2/3 of the beginning of the set. And then we kind of got together. Then I kicked my drink over. Someone else also kicked their drink over, hence this little stain right here. You see that? I wish that was sweat. It was cold as shit. That's the first bit of the set, baby.
Those guys are okay.
They are. They're horrible people from what I've heard, but decent band. You want to see what we got next?
Yeah.
Man, this is where it looks real good. Legit, right after the second song, I hid my hat underneath your ride cymbal stand over there because it stood no chance. You know why that jacket looks so tight on Jamarco?
Is it yours?
It is. It did not fit that. You go, oh, this is a little snug. But if there's anyone that wears sweaters with no shirt underneath them, it's Jamarco Thomas. That dude loves to bulge. Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Woo. Dude, what is that bass called? A Mulan?
That's nice.
Isn't that a movie?
Did you hold it?
I held it for a second.
So nice. It's so like light.
Yes. It looks beefy though. It's got a really thin neck profile too.
And it sounded really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just the board mix. I
Well,
wasn't able to get a
I can
mulch
hardly hear it right now, but I mean, like in our ears, it sounded like really good.
Yeah.
I was
definitely
thrilled
did.
with it.
Yeah. And there's that snare miking you were talking about. You're right. It's like it's just a little bit off that room.
Well, and that one was aimed a little more down.
Yeah.
The other one, well, maybe they moved it. I remember during sound check, the other one was aimed a little more like lateral.
Well, I feel like sometimes it just seems like it's based around like where the hi-hats sit. Like how much was it like convenience versus like what's optimal for the drum?
Yeah. In that place though, you know, like when I usually I put a tambourine right in that spot, and that pisses a lot of sound guys off. But I'm just like, dude, you'll figure it out. I mean, I always figure it out, so you can figure it, you know. But like those clip-ons, the clip-on mics, I can just slide over, and it's fine. When you're dealing with a stand and a 57, like it's a little bit of more of a hassle
For sure.
But like, there's plenty of room there, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, the hi-hat probably doesn't matter as much.
But then you also get that bleed that we were talking about. Like, you know, how much of that do you think it can be intentional at times, where like you're trying to catch a little bit of that hat, just for the sake of clarity?
I can't remember who I was talking to, but someone said something like that. Like, you're not going to set up a hi-hat mic, and this one particular sound guy in town was like, that's what the snare mic's for. Which, you know, it's not a perfect situation, but it definitely helps.
Yeah. John's used one of those 906s as like an under snare mic, and I really like that too. It's just, you know, it's such an odd thing to like try to isolate certain aspects of the drum mic. Especially I'm realizing like in a studio recording environment, the separation is nil. Like everything is going to pick up everything. It's just like how you intend to use it. So it kind of makes sense when guys talk about like, what is it, the Glenn Johns, you know, mic setup where like you like a top overhead and then like one like far to the side.
Yep.
Rather than doing like a stereo traditional pair.
Yeah. And you're still, I mean, you're still capturing the whole kit with that setup.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why that works so well, but if you keep it in phase, it's, you know, it's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phasing is one of those things that, like, I'm slowly hearing the difference, but, like, you know, seeing it on the graphic EQ is one thing, but it's starting to sonically make sense to me, and, like, you've really jumped into this engineer world in the last, like, year and a half. Like, has that changed the way you think about playing drums, or has it just changed the way you look at, like, drummers in the mix?
Both a little bit. I mean, because, you know, I mean, I've always, even before I tried to do any sound stuff, like, I wanted to have a good touch and balance on the kit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's gotten better since still, you know, because I do hear things like, especially, you know, in 2020, it's like, I had nothing to do, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to set up some microphones to try to do this. Like, I'm listening back to stuff and I'm like, oh, well, my right hand is just way too loud compared to everything else. And there's nothing I can do. There's not a lot I can do about it mixing wise, you know.
Well, it's interesting to me to see how many drummers have taken this jump from being, you know, just a player to being an engineer. Because I think there's something about, you know, dynamics and picture and like overall range that once you get your hands on it, like, you always kind of have that inclination from that point on. Like, it seems like it's part of your world innately because you are dealing with all these different elements of the band all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think studio engineering is going to be something that you get into in time?
Yeah, I hope so. I would love to have my own little, even if it's just a hobby for a long time, like, whatever. I'd love to have a business out of it too, but it's definitely something I've realized in the past year that I really enjoy it, you know? So it'd be cool to have a little, you know, a lot of guys want to go have their basement studio and do the thing and have people over to record, and I'd love it. I would absolutely love it.
And I think in that, like, there's a different type of freedom of having the audio in front of you rather than, like, making the audio in real time. You know what I mean? Like, the way that you can play between takes. And also I think there's, like, the mindset that comes along with tracking. Mm-hmm. It's like the way I envisioned tracking a band when I was a kid and it was being done in, like, a Nashville studio by pros. I just assumed these people just spit up these parts and they worked and were fine. Versus, like, now when I'm sitting there myself, it's like, no, cymbal bleeds a bitch, you know, like, between takes and like these little minute things that make it special when there's a guy that, you know, if there's anything that I've really taken from our time playing together, it's like, it's the arrangement, you know, whereas I grew up reading block chords, playing my covers, and just kind of chunking through them. Versus, like, learning how to not only get out of each other's way, but to insinuate something and execute on it so that there is not only space, but there's, like, this constant evolution of the shape and the contour of it. And there's something different about sitting behind a desk and getting things out of each other's way, you know, like, it's like sifting and finding something special in there.
Sure. And of course, like, the more work you do before then, the easier that process is, right? Like, if you arrange it so that if you have two chordal instruments, if they're instead of fighting for one frequency range, you know, if one's sitting higher and one's sitting lower, that's gonna make your life easier. Mixing, same with just leaving space in general for other parts to come in.
So when you're looking at, like, you know, going from a world, like, you know, at the end of your college career, you're playing all this jazz and all these varieties of jazz where you want to have these tonal options versus just playing club gigs. Like, how much thought do you put into the kit that you're taking out to a gig before it happens?
I mean, anymore now, it's just what's easiest to roll with, like,
what's in the car?
To lug. Yeah, what's already in the car.
But now you roll with two kits in your car, like, no one robbed Nick.
No, that's just an accident from this weekend. That's I was lazy on Sunday. That's what that was.
But when it's like, when you're talking about just like your tom options, like having a rack and floor, or 2 racks and a floor, knowing that there's going to be 2 chordal instruments or a horn section, do you start to think about sizes of drums? And
not with. I don't think too much about like the other personnel in the band. Mm-hmm. More about the music we're playing, and the venue.
Yeah.
So like I brought the PDP out for Fountain Square because it's a 22-inch kick and it's an outdoor gig.
Yeah.
And they didn't roll out the subs, which
All
those guys did a great job of there was bass presence in that mix. That was awesome. So it wasn't a big deal, but outdoors, I mean, I want to push more air. I just want a bigger sound. Like my 18-inch Yamaha sounds great everywhere and probably would have sounded good on that gig too. Mm. But my thought was, we're outdoors. I don't know what the sound situation's going to be. I'm just going to bring the 22.
Yeah.
And I would bring the 22, like I wouldn't bring the 22 on a jazz gig. Mm-hmm. I'd bring the 18 or the 20, like, because that Canopus sounds good. But
is that more of a question of like dynamics and how you have it tuned that you wouldn't bring that on a jazz gig? Like,
yes.
Okay.
But more of how I would have it tuned, although I can just retune it on the gig. Like that's quick and easy. But it's got a lot to do with the venue. If we're playing at Schwartz Point or Cafe Vivace or some like a place where it's like, okay, I can't have the loudest drum ever on this gig. Like, yeah, a smaller drum's going to help me with that. I could still get power out of it when I want to. The tuning of it is a big deal with the styles, because with your stuff, I'm going to want something punchy, a little, well, maybe not super punchy. Like I said, I had nothing inside the bass drum on that gig. Yeah. Like it had a nice open sound. If they gate it, they gate it, but it had a nice open sound on the stage. But and it's deeper because it's bigger drums, so the pitch is lower naturally. But I might enjoy, what I liked about my Sonar when I had the Sonar, it was such a small drum. Like it's the best it sounded was when it had tone like a tom, like when it had a higher pitch, and that was like the best sound for that drum, and that worked particularly well with jazz stuff, And it's not saying that like makes a lot of sense to me until I see it done in like a Vivace kind of a scene where, like, again, it was this gig with you and Ryan Jones where obviously you guys are your buddies and you're geeking the whole set, having a good time, but there's something magical about like 2 instruments and 2 people playing in ranges that add to the width, but they don't subtract. They're not messing with that weird bit of phasing that would come along with just sound in the air and things, clashing and digging into each other's space. There was your cymbal work above 5K, and then he's just meat and potatoes, and then he would stay out of the range of your kick. So when you're sitting in the audience, you feel like you're getting a wall of sound, and it is just 2 people. And that's, I never really realized until like in the last couple of years of trying to listen back to shows of how much not only chordal instruments get in each other's way, but it's like, I got 6 strings I can play, tops. Why am I playing these bottom 2 when I'm sitting in the bass player's meat and potato range? Oh, yeah.
And like, and if they have a nice saturation and warmth, they're like, I'm taking away from their tonality.
Oh yeah, you could piss bass player off doing that, man.
For sure. I don't know, dog. I'm chunky. Like they taught me those bar chords. I'm proud of them.
I mean, it depends on the style you're playing too. Where I see it the most is piano players. No offense to my piano players out there,
but it's different too when you got 10 notes to talk about.
Yeah, and your left hand just can't help but go.
Yeah.
Especially if you're used to playing by yourself.
For sure.
Your left hand wants to go down there. And, I mean, even at church, I've seen the bass player look over like, hey, get out of there. Get out of my range.
Yeah. Well, it's weird when everyone has an unspoken job in a band. It's like it's it's helpful when people get certain clarifications, but sometimes, who's driving the band in a certain direction has to change, and you got to be willing to go there in all senses of it. It's like, and I think that's one of the things that your background prepared you so well for, and it makes my life so much easier, that regardless what it is, you're willing to go there.
Oh yeah.
Sure. and hold it down in a secure way through that. Like, we had a good conversation a couple months ago. Like, sometimes I'll pull away from certain guys in the band solos because I'm not listening to the solo. I'm just thinking about a certain block of time and getting out of there. But if you hold back the moment by not engaging fully in it, you end up cutting somebody at 65%.
Right.
But if we would have gotten out of there at 95%, you have people on the edge of their seat about to lose their
right.
shit.
It's it's like blue balling everybody. I mean, it is. That's exactly. I mean,
yeah.
They're especially because you hire such good musicians in your band, so it's like every single one of us has some background in jazz or something, wildly artistic that we're like a lot of these guys are trained to tell an entire story in their solo. And you probably don't want to have 7-minute long piano solo in your songs, but having the trust to say, okay, I know you're going to reach a climax and it's going to be awesome for this song.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop that early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a big, that can be a huge deal.
Yeah. Well, I think just being less experienced in these kind of side journeys of going into solo ranges and seeing the form obscure and kind of widen out, to know the audible cues and the visual cues so that we do come out of this uniformly is a craft in itself.
Yeah.
And it's really an odd thing to get used to when, like you said, most of these guys are used to playing by themselves. I'm playing all these gigs where it's like, once I'm done with my solo, I'm done with my solo. And there's a reason why when I'm on the way out, you guys all know that so clearly, and in the next hook we go. So it's an insecurity, but it's also a great point of learning when you do wait long enough. Like there's a moment at Fountain Square, maybe it was on Cookin', where it's like most of the time I give you a real in out on that. It's like it's just enough to groove. But we started going there for a little bit.
Well, I actually was going to bring that up. I thought on Cookin' it was particularly like you read it perfectly.
It was your birthday. I was going to let you go.
But you, I appreciated the extra space, but also, that was exactly when I was ready to get out of the solo, And you could hear it. I ended up playing on that hemiola for too long, but it was...
What's a hemiola, Nick?
Oh, just going over the bar line.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean by that?
I don't, but I kind of do,
So that musical phrase I was playing, it was just it was in 3, but we're playing in 4, right?
So it's
so it naturally falls over the bar line, so it's not gonna end on 1 every time.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I do when I run out of ideas. but I just sat on that for a while, and then it was it came to a point where it's okay, we've this is a good place to get out, and we both agreed on that, and we didn't even, I don't know, I think I looked at you, but it didn't matter. It was, we knew where we were going.
I'm still at a place where being able to acknowledge the look helps me, because I want to go into that feeling like we're all on board with why we're going there. It's you can bring in the best guys in the world, but if you don't allow them to bring their full talent list to the table, you have sold yourself short in the value you get from bringing them on board. And there's certain gigs where, say you come in the bad mood, say you're coming in the wrong mindset, and other guys need a chance to stretch for whatever reason. If it's not the most serious gig in the world, if it's not the live album, you should probably stretch. because there's a chance that there's gold at the end of this tunnel.
Absolutely.
And there's a chance that there's nothing, but at least we burned a couple minutes off the gig.
And you know what? We play so many gigs, it's like, you run into the times where it's nothing. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that was a dud.
Yeah.
We learned.
But then there's great moments of genius in that, and I think there's when you have the right band, and this is, I'm not gonna try to pay you too many compliments because there's a lot of eye contact going on. That's just weird. But if there's one thing that you do in a stellar manner, it's support the quality, integrity of the project. It's like you are driving that bus in a very particular manner. And I know you wouldn't veer off if it wasn't the pursuit of seeing this going the extra 5%, the extra 10%, the extra 15%. We're in some weird fucking place. But there's two people in the crowd that not only get it, they live and breathe for that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And sometimes that is musicians playing for musicians.
Yeah.
But it is a sickness we can't help. And if you make that person, you know, like I think of like when Josh used to be in town, like there's so much that was over my head. And now I wish I had these moments to play with our friend. Because, you know, you're outside of the joke at some points in that. You're like...
Did I ever tell you about the time Josh flipped you off behind your back?
Yes. And I think about that to this day, and like in a
so
positive, it's like it's not like he would mean any harm. He wouldn't be there if he meant me any harm.
Right.
But it's like you said, you got blue balled by a friend. You know, going there on a tin roof.
Well, you know, it's not like anyone in the crowd like cared that Josh was about to rip their face off, but because it was tin roof, right? But
yeah.
But like, at some point though, you know, we're doing this for us, too. You know, it's like, you know, you can look at your marketing strategy, your target audiences, all that, but at the end of the day, like we're all doing this because we love to do this.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
the art has to be worth it. You know, it has to be a pursuit that feels so meaningful, and like, you know, we throw a little bit of slack at the tin roof because, like, you know, you get a musically unversed audience that will ask for Mr. Brightside after you just played Mr. Brightside. I mean, like they get denser by the second on a weekend. But
they might be versed, but they're kind of drunk, so it's
and there's moments of frustration but it's like I can't tell you what you should enjoy in this set. But I should be willing to let you see what I enjoy and choose for yourself whether that's what you came here or not for. And withholding ourselves from that is a foolish pursuit that only, you know, pushes me away from great players. Like, you know, when you look at a band like James Brown's band, he's got like Maceo Parker and like a mean horn section, and he fires these guys because they won't do exactly what he says because they're a little too out. You know, in the historical grounds, like maybe he was right, maybe they had to go.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of inspired musicians, like the way generations revere those guys and their small part in this for who they are, it's like you just got to appreciate the talent pool around you at that point.
It depends on the gig too, right? Like if I don't know, you know, I don't know the context of that, like James Brown firing certain people, but like, you know, if we're playing a gig where the goal is to play a very clean, well-produced show. Yeah. All right, we're not going to have as many of those moments. Right. We're not going to have hopefully none of those. Depending on the gig.
I counted 5 in the most well-documented show that we got.
Well, there were 3 Buddha-Clacklas as well. So. But
some of them, you know.
But yeah, I mean, like. There are certain shows, and that doesn't mean we can't have at least one of those moments where we like go off on a tangent musically. But yeah, I think you just gotta read. We all just have to understand, and I think even communicating about this before a gig is probably good. Yeah, you know. But we just all have to understand where we're at. If we're at a 4-hour no break tin roof gig, okay. You know what? To an extent, you're gonna go F you. I'm going where I want to go right now. You know, you know.
And you're totally right in like talking before the gig, talking after the gig, just discussing it, listening back to it. You know, I think that the most valuable thing that you and I have had in the last 2 years is a lot of uninterrupted time together with this body of music, with reviewing this body of music, with listening to stuff outside of that, with just living life alongside each other. It's like your concerns for that stretch far beyond just the set, but everything that you express between two people shows in the set. You know, and there's moments where we click because we haven't seen each other in a couple of days. You know, and like there's a different joy in that than we played this yesterday and you told me I dropped the ball, or I told you dropped the ball, and I'm not going to do that today. You know, and like, and you get fired up about these things, and that's great. You know, it's like, because the most unfortunate thing we both got is that this is what we do for a living. You know, it's like, that's awesome, but it's a pain in the ass, but it stresses you out a lot. Yeah. It's fun as fuck though.
It is fun. I've had a blast. I think when did we start playing together? I think this will be 4 years this summer.
I think it's about that. Probably like end of 2019. Like, we really started playing together.
Yeah. No, I just think about like, you know, from the first go.
From the first, dude. That's 2017. That's late 2017 when you came and did the cooking video.
Really?
Can I look that up really quick? Yeah, I can probably.
5 years?
5 years, I think. Let's double check.
Wait, were we playing together before you and Emily were together?
Yes.
It's been 5 years.
That's a damn trip.
Wow.
Well, I'll never forget, you know, like my first experience with Sammy. I was watching Sammy and Charlie play together for like an NKU like freshman year gig at like whatever that little cafe is in Ludlow.
Oh yeah, Winners.
Yeah, and I'd been playing with Sammy on and off for a couple months, and I met you at that party at the Jazz House, which we know how that ended. I'm glad I left.
Oh yeah, you missed it.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years for the release of this video. Now we really got this.
Well, that's the release.
Yeah, so
well, you released it pretty quick, huh?
August of 2013. That's 2018. Jesus.
All right, so 4 years?
Come on, pause now. 4 years.
4 years.
Look at a young Nick in this. Baby-faced. Doesn't know any of these guys. Just hang out at this restaurant with.
I just learned the song that morning.
Nails that.
I don't have enough toms to play. That's you know, I remember looking at the Leech and looking at him and saying, and I remember saying, "Hey man, you know how to do some good video editing, right? Because this, I mean, I'm gonna play the right rhythms, but I'm not gonna be hitting the right drums." And he was like, "Yeah, man, you do your homework." And then we watched the video. I'm like, "It's a good video," but I'm like, "Nah, that doesn't look right." that looks like I don't have enough drums to play this song.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, imagine what this scene would look like if you had 2 rack, 2 floor.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had room in there.
This is a good day at work, though, man.
That's a good time. I was like, Jamarco looks younger.
Jamarco looks way younger. This baby's aging him. Johnny Disco's getting younger by the child.
Yeah. But I remember that being a very new experience for me. Would getting we're gonna play at Richie's, and I was like, the chicken place? Okay, all right, I'll be there.
Dude, everything about this day was a stroke of luck that no one came up and stole our shit. You know?
Oh yeah. And then was that dance team at the end, was that pre-arranged, or was that a last minute, like, you found some dance team rehearsing down the street?
Like, right outside the restaurant down the street is where that dance troupe rehearsed. And the Leech had gone down there, and he was
that day?
No, like a couple days before.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "We got this song. Y'all got anything you can do for this?" And they're like, "We just got new uniforms. And we have a new routine that actually lines up perfect." So they came down, and it's this dance troupe with their moms and 50 children, and these guys pull up and they're selling turtles and fanny packs and tasers, and we've all been drinking Jim Beam out of a little glass container in my car.
Man. And then that gig that night was... Yeah, no, those kids...
Where are their parents?
Those kids were the highlight. That mom, that lady you bump and grinded on.
Yes.
I was like, dude, this is hilarious. What is this band?
What is And then we panic asked you about the gig that night.
And that was one of the most fun gigs I had played to date, up to that. I mean, even today, that was so much fun because I didn't know any of them songs. And it felt like, I mean, you and John cue so well. I know it probably wasn't the perfect show, but I also know it sounded like I had played with you guys before. Yes. There was no way it didn't sound like...
It was as clean as that possibly could have been. But I think above that, it was a good vibe.
It was so much fun. It was a good time.
We spent the whole day playing this one song, and it was like, all right, here's 11 other that we can tell you about. And it did go well, and it's like, to think about where we've come from there to the point where... you're talking about John cueing well. It's like when someone can't tell what's going on with my feet, they're like, "What's Nick doing and where are we going?" Because it's like that you're that driving force. You're the MD in that. And also the funniest thing to me in the way that our trio is kind of played out is I've always had this obsession that there at least has to be some harmonies, and I've always wanted a drummer that sang harmonies, and everyone was never about it. Yeah, everyone that had a little bit of experience didn't want to do it anymore. With no experience and just blind ambition, you hopped into this. And I know you had a little bit of training going into it, but it's like you're the guy that's jumping through parts, reading through the book, I'm taking this option and just filling it out, man.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, some of it's I'm at a point now where I really enjoy that challenge of finding a harmony that I have not practiced in the moment, but that first year or two of it was pretty rough, just because I'm not confident about this. It's hard. Yeah. It would make me mad that I'm like, why do I have to change? I'm the weakest guy. I'm the weakest link. Why are you making me change? But
everyone made you do it.
But the skill that has come out of it, and it's not perfect. I don't know how to sing. I don't know the proper technique or how to take care of my voice. But the skill that has come out of it of finding harmony parts, makes me really stoked. Yeah. And that's. I mean, you pushed me to do it. I mean, I started doing it in another band around the same time, but that was different. That was a little more structured. This is your part. You're gonna sing this part, and it was actually a little more difficult in the other band because it was always the fourth part. Yeah. Which was just so much harder for me to hear in the moment.
It's got to be weird, and one other thing, just to your credit, is it's one thing to learn how to do the task. It's another thing to learn how to multitask with your primary that you've taken a lot of time to be great at. So when a vocal part starts to take away from your ability to pull this lick and come back and be crushing, that drives you crazy. Yeah. And it almost makes you want to put it farther off to the side. But you've exceeded that. And there's moments where we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, where I was I didn't even know you were the one back there singing this harmony. This is in the wedding band. For everyone that knows that we do these other covers outside of this, there's a lot of these songs that we've never played together. That's I'm reading off a sheet, and here you come with this falsetto part, doubling, and we're hitting, and I'm like, where the fuck is that? And you're like, turn around, Matt. Because it's crazy now that you have this this mental separation to go there. How many places it applies? Yeah, and I can't stress how valuable that is to me as someone that's trying to push a band forward, but to every band you're in after that.
Oh yeah, Yeah. No, my favorite thing now is like when someone doesn't know that I like do that, or even I get it with you sometimes too. But like my favorite thing on a gig now is when I sing a part that no one expected to hear, and I get people turning around like, like who's that? And then they realize it's me, and they're like, oh, you know, that's my favorite thing in the world now.
And then to go a step further than that, like singing lead, where it's like, you already got a big job going on back there. It's enough to be the bus driver, you know, to make sure this thing ticks its way to the finish line. But now you got to be the front man.
Yeah.
And there's been some moments where I'm hammered, spinning in a circle, playing 2 chords as hard and as long as I can, while you just kill him with some Ray Charles. And that's my shit. You know, that's some of the most fun I have in ours. Because like it's a vocal break, but it's also this opportunity to have to do barely anything. It's the laziest part of my night.
Now that you say that, you're gonna have to solo more on those songs.
Shit.
Hey man, you know what? If I'm singing, yeah, that's what you lead singers do. You get tired. You're just like, hey, play a solo, mother.
Dude, I'm like, please, like I asked you to cut that last solo off. Do that again. I don't care, please, because we got to go somewhere, you know. and sometimes you get lost up there. Like there's a certain level of disconnect. If I'm thinking about talking to the crowd, I'm not thinking about what's going on with the band.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that kind of sucks at times.
Yeah.
You know, we also talked about when we have a female vocalist, or like just another vocalist. It's nice to just stand there and click on an instrument each and just kind of have a good time with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, simplify the whole game.
Yeah.
Between sound and the harmonies, what's been the biggest point of growth and push on your end this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Between sound and the harmonies, or besides sound?
You know, I think in any category, but those are the two that stick out to me. Like, where are you really putting your efforts right now?
I mean, you know, every opportunity I get to like run live sound, I've been taking, just to get comfortable with messing with, you know, playing around with gain structures and EQs and stuff, and like that's, I mean, you know, as far as harmony goes, like harmony stuff, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing. I just, every time I get in the car, like I'm singing harmonies with whatever I'm listening to, but
so it's almost like a passive practice at this point. It's like it's enough in your life where that gets better because you've been doing it with time.
Yeah.
Versus this is like an active learn, like going to the seminars and the conferences that you have been in, like, and taking those gigs when it's just like a weird situation, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and I like crave it. In fact, yeah, I had a talk with Nikki the other day. I was just like, I want more sound roles at church. I want to play drums. I love playing drums, but we have other drummers. I want, and we have a need for sound people right now.
Yeah,
I want that.
Yeah.
I want to run live sound. Like, I want more and more experience I can get with that because it's really fun for me, and I know my ear is good enough to. And we all have different tastes, right? So my mix might be a little slightly drum heavy, or bass heavy or something, but like I know my ear is in the place where it's like I know what a good mix sounds like, and I've been discovering how to get there, you know, and how to make it sound clean, and you can make it sound loud without it being loud if it's mixed right, and I'm just like at that point where it's like I need more practice at that. I want to do it not only to do a service to whatever I'm doing wherever I'm at, but also just like to prove to myself that, hey, I got this awesome live, I got this good live sound. Maybe not awesome, but I've got this tight live mix here, you know. So
it's good to be able to, like, you know, you're a calculated person. So you have opinions about these things, but, you know, for the longest time, you're behind your instrument, someone else is behind that. So it's like, it's the ability to be heard in that and to flesh out, these subjective ideas that we all have about what's best for a mix. But then for someone to come up and be like, I really like the mix today, like, that's a different kind of affirmation when it is something new. And I think it's cool when it's, you're hungry enough to go home from a gig where you were just running sound and go play bass because you want to play more, more the variety of it. So when you got folks that do that and you give them those opportunities, it's a different level of contribution. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I was actually going to suggest on any of those, on some of those Wednesday things, if you don't have me on to play drums, just let me come around sound.
I would love that. I would love to bring you in to build some presets on some of these rooms. But I think also like learning how to I want to make a preset for our live multi-tracks so that at the end of the show I just hit bounce and maybe I come back and refine it if I need to. But having that bounce so I can come back and make video content is a really big thing.
Yeah.
Well, we're about at that time. You want to watch the rest of these Fountain Square videos and get on out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me see what else we got. Oh, dude, you're going to love this glove, okay? I mean, once it's loaded, it's going to be a different level of
Gloves
joy.
is love.
I've also been thinking about getting a new computer, Nick.
Oh, yeah?
This one's about to shit the bed.
You going to stick with Mac?
Yeah, probably.
That's probably the move.
I don't think you were going to say that before I said yes. I think you were about to throw some shade at my MacBook.
No, because you use Logic, and Logic's...
Yeah. And Final Cut.
Yeah. I've been liking Reaper a lot.
Yeah.
And I could go get Pro Tools if I wanted, but...
But if Reaper does it.
Yeah. But my training, I took classes on Logic in college. And I don't have a computer that I can use Logic on. It's stupid.
You got the paper. It says you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't in-depth stuff, but I intuitively interface. I particularly interface really well with Logic. And I don't have Logic.
We got to build some presets then, because that'll make my life a lot easier. I'm having a hell of a time. Look at this Sweet 16 party out here just trying to do this thing.
The bass sounds heavy.
Yeah. Straight farting out my internals. Dude, the best thing on this is the delay that they put on my vocal.
Ah.
That's when you know Kevin was doing that thing out there. People just getting sprayed by the fountain all night. When you're getting that sloshy sound with your hi-hats, what part of the stick do you strike with?
The shoulder.
When you say, okay.
Sorry, you don't know what that means.
Barely.
Well, you've got the tip.
Yeah.
And you've got the body, okay, so where the taper begins.
Oh.
Or in the taper.
Yeah, okay.
So anywhere
right at the base of that?
anywhere between the bead and the beginning of the taper,
Okay.
I consider that the shoulder.
Is that why you always, not why you always, but why people always break sticks there?
No, I don't know about other people, but rim shots on a snare drum is what breaks sticks.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, no. I'm right-handed, but I always break my left stick. Who's playing the falsetto?
Dude, I have no idea. I'm assuming Marco. That sounds like Jamarco. But that's also, dude, whoever gets that fourth part gets the shit end of the stick.
Yeah, and it's always Jamarco nowadays.
That's because he's daddy late all the time. 40 minutes. I had a changing point in my life where Em was telling me that she assumes I'm going to be 30 minutes late, So she would just tell me 30 minutes early for everything. I was like, no, please tell me the truth. And I was late again, and now she just moved it up, so whatever. So I started doing that to Marco. Oh, I love them gloves. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. We got all 3 minutes, too. I tore a hole in the crotch of those khakis this night. Yeah, dude, bass heavy mix. Listen to shaking them internal speakers.
So did they actually tracked for you?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
He sent me a left and right.
Oh, okay, cool.
But all that wind is still in that mix, so
Yeah.
it sounds like distortion.
Is any of this mix coming from the Zoom as well?
Like the left and right on the Zoom? Like the sound? Like the...
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay, you didn't...
Yeah, I handed it to him and had him operate it how he wanted, so he just gave me left and right.
Oh, I understand. You didn't use the Zoom...
Yes. He sent me a direct line from the left and right of the board.
I thought maybe you used it as well to record, but okay.
No.
Just wondering.
Next time I should go back there and show them how I'd like to do it. But, like, he did a fine job. And especially after, like, it wasn't heated, but it was heated. I was like, you're not going to let us use our split? I'm here at 3 o'clock. You told me to be here at 4. You're not going to let me use my split?
Yeah.
So I can multi-track the damn show? He goes, yeah, we don't do that. And, like, I was like, I was about to pop. I just made Emily help me carry the split up to Fountain Square.
You know, that's interesting. Because it's not a difficult thing
No,
to
definitely
do.
not. I get that you want to be particular. I get that you have your ears set up. And like you said, it did sound great. So,
It was smooth. Like, it worked.
yeah.
If it was a gig where it's like, it would have been a pain regardless, we're using a splitter in my mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Like, they did a great job, but I would love to have the multi-track. That being said, it's great to have a show that was really well mixed, already finished.
Right.
Dude, one thing I've been loving is this Octaver pedal I have for, like, an upper octave. Where it's like, it's not... Sometimes it's way too sharp. It's, like, cuts to it. You want that drum pad, Nick? Oh, my God.
Oh, that was a drum pad. Oh.
And
That's right.
I did not have enough of it in my ears at this point in time. I was like, I am scared.
Yeah, I didn't use the drum pad. You know, I don't like using that thing a whole lot, except for finding some of those fun moments. Yeah. But that, like that. That's my favorite sound on the pad now.
Dude, it's never been used so well. Like, when I heard this mix, so, like, we came back from this show, and I was just kind of exhausted. And I went to bed early, and I'm just kind of hanging out by myself, and I was like, there's no way I can sleep right now. Like, I need to do something. So I was like, I'm going to do my yoga. My phone died. She's using the charger, so I was like, I'm going to listen back to the set with some headphones on. And I heard that, and that's the first moment where I was twisted up in laughter. I was like, this went so hard.
That was a boo clack clack right there.
That was a borderline boo clack clack.
Well, I had a boo 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 clack clack right before that.
Oh, we gotta wrap this up.
All right, sorry.
One more. No. I deserve this. Y'all deserve this. Look at that drip line, dog. What is this?
It's coming from your pedal board.
She's leaking.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Those rim clicks sound good with it.
Dude, sounded so good. Is that makeup gain on a compressor? I was talking to Rob in Louisville about this. Where it's like, okay, set your compression level and put yourself just so, like, what you need to compress is hitting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't need to be. But adding some makeup gains so things that don't hit just come up a little bit sweeter into the mix. So you're pulling down while also raising the general bass by 2 dB, 3 dB. Is that what you normally do?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
How much do you normally put on?
No, most of what I'm doing is live sound, right?
Yeah.
But which is exactly what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm still playing around with it, and it depends on the instrument and the situation.
Yeah.
But like, I put at least a couple dBs on it. I've been doing it on like speaking mics at church. Like compression's so helpful because we'll be talking like this forever, especially a headset mic.
Yeah.
They're talking like this, and when they start yelling, they can't pull it away from their face. It's like, well, I can work the fader if you want during a whole speech, but that's
kind of hard to gauge too.
Yeah, I mean the compression helps, but then it's like, yeah, you don't want to. I don't know. Honestly, that probably doesn't need as much makeup gain anyway. But yeah, but I'm also running into a situation where it's like the scenes that I was like practicing on, like there was like not enough input gain, and like all the gain was through makeup gain on the compressor, which is a weird situation.
Yeah,
and that's but then other times it's like the input gain is almost clipping. And there's compression. I'm like, why are you doing that? Yeah, dude, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's weird to still be in like your first couple of years of it and be back working some stupid issues on somebody's part,
Yeah, and it's not, everybody's got their thing.
Yeah, yeah,
for
sure.
And it's not like these mixes didn't necessarily sound bad. It's just like you find. Especially if you're a volunteer, you gotta find what works.
Yeah.
You have a good ear. Maybe you're learning the board, and there's probably gonna be some weird quirks with my stuff. That's the same way, where it's like I was in a situation where I had to learn the board. I had to learn how to do this using my ear and not using knowledge of the board or of mixing. So you get into it and you're like, there's going to be some weird quirks like that don't necessarily make sense, but I found the sound I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's an interesting... You right. Well, Nick, this has been episode 69. Anything you want to end with throwing the people?
Oh.
You teaching again?
I have a couple students, yeah.
You taking on more students?
I'll take on a couple more.
Okay.
I don't want to burn out again.
Yeah, if you sweet talk him now.
Sweet Dunk?
Dunkin'.
Hey, I like Dunkin' Donuts. You can pay me in Dunkin' Donuts, and I will teach you how to dunk some donuts.
Okay. We got to leave it there. Love y'all. Peace. Oh, I love that boy. Ain't he the sweetest? He's also crazy. Just the right amount of crazy. He's a good friend. He kicks ass, and he's a weird dude. I like that. Well, all right, let's get into the dates really quick. Let's look at the April and May summer tour dates, where we're starting off here. Okay, April 28th, I am back at the Little Miami Brewing Company, the most beautiful bar in Milford. Come kick it by the river with me. The Little Miami looks gorgeous with a beer in hand and a smile on your face. That show starts at 6 o'clock. The 29th, I'm going to be out at Liberty Township for the Dora event of the year, that open container giggle. So come see us at Liberty starting at 6 o'clock. That's a family-friendly event. The 14th of May, I'm going to be at Craneworks out in Westchester starting at 7 o'clock. The 15th, I'm going to be at the Music on the Hill event. Thanks to my buddy Scott Skibeck. Thank you, Scott. Sorry about that. In Florence, that show starts at 5. On the 18th, I'm back at Clear Mountain Food Park starting at 7 o'clock out in Batavia. The 19th of May, I'm at Keystone Bar and Grill over in Covington starting at 8. The 26th, we're going to be at the Tin Roof Lexington. I'll be joined by my man Nick Hack and Casey Allen. The 27th, we're going to be at the Tin Roof Louisville starting at 8 o'clock. And then the 29th, we are back in Nashville, Tennessee at Alley Taps. As far as the in-town dates go for this week, April 27th, I'll be at the Tin Roof starting at 10 o'clock. April 29th, I'm going to be at Xavier Fest with my gal, Chandler Carter. I can't wait to be back on campus. As you know, I'm an alum. I'm very proud of it. So make sure you come check it out. Starts at 5. May 1st, I'm making my debut at the Hilltop Bar and Patio up in Mount Adams at 1 o'clock. Then that night, I'm every single Sunday at Fishbowl at the Banks. Come kick it. May 4th, I'm at the Tin Roof starting at 10. And then May 8th, every single Sunday night starting at 7 o'clock, I'm at Fishbowl. And then May 2nd, get your RSVPs in for the Monday's Muse at Latitudes. Make sure you call in. The show starts at 7 o'clock with our songwriter round featuring Rucka and Michael Moeller. And our featured guest is going to be the returning NXK duo. That's it for episode 69 of The Wave, everybody. Thanks for hanging. Much love.